Not sure what's going on. Just making sure that we are live. Okay. Great. I think we are live right now. Hi, everyone. Hope everything's going well. This is another episode of the Better Business Tactics interview series that I have once in a while at noon US Central Time, and it just goes live stream and from different channels. And during this time, I interview the business owners that can share some information about their business and also maybe some tactics that have worked for them and they can share with other business owners. Today, I have another special guest. His name is Cesar Ramos, and Cesar is the owner of Advanced Planning Analytics. He's been in the industry of project controls, overall project industry, but project controls field specifically for 20 years. And he helps others gain the knowledge and expertise in the field through the trainings that he has. And he's built lots of experience in various areas of project controls, including air value management, including risk analysis, planning, scheduling, and so on. So, Cesar, thank you very much for accepting the request to join this interview.
Thank you for the invite.
Okay, Cesar, so let's get started. First of all, how did you get started with your business? What's the story behind the business and why you started that?
Well, the business, started roughly 6 years ago, and so I've spent all my career in project management, project controls, things of that nature, and you build up a pedigree of knowledge, if you will, and you learn a lot of things along the way. And roughly 6 years ago, I was with a client and we hired a third-party company that was very well known, sought after, known for analyzing for clients. And they brought a group of folks to do some analysis of our project. And a lot of what they provided had a lot of flaws, I guess you could say. For a company that was supposed to be very well sought after and known, they provided some very generic information and statistics and things like that. And it kind of pointed out to the fact that made us aware that maybe they didn't know a lot of things. The bad part was that, some of that was a negative, response to the project. So we got, hit over the head for, some ill reviews, some bad reviews. But that was enough to get me motivated to start speaking publicly about knowledge. I was very aware that just because this company had a very well known in the industry, the people that were there were not knowledgeable of project controls in this aspect or the analysis of that. So I started speaking at conferences. I kind of had this mission to spread knowledge and set the record straight for how some things are supposed to be recorded, what it should look like. And I would go to the conferences and I'd present different clients, different conferences. And it started off as just like a blog. Like I even set up a website to just spread more knowledge because I was a bit disappointed that that a company like this would just allow this type of stuff to happen. But I understood as well. Over time there's an exchange of experience that leaves the door, and you have new or how would you say inexperienced talent that comes in, and they kind of don't adhere to the best practices and things like that. So with that said, started off as a blog, and then it kind of cascaded into training, because at that point people were listening and said, okay, can you provide some training? And I was like, well, sure. And then I joined the Oracle team to be an Oracle partner to start training people. So it kind of evolved into that, but that was the motivation behind that business start.
Very good. I think that really there is a good point here for those who are experts and in the industry, different type of industries, and you noticed a knowledge gap that resulted in some mistakes in the projects that a well-known company, the staff they were making, and based on that, you wanted to address that issue, and you created the business that eventually led to some trainings related to that gap that was there, the knowledge gap. So now, after these years, what products or services do you provide to your customers? Like, can you name a few things that you do these days?
Sure. These days, it's just training, online training or in-person training. I have an office in the south end of Houston towards NASA. And, on the nights or weekends, I do training. But I also have an online platform, and I also collaborate with the Project Controls Academy, Sheree, with another online version of a training class that I've done in the past. So at this stage, it's just strictly training, and I do still participate in networking conferences. I'm currently the vice president for AACE Houston Gulf Coast. So I've been a member for 20 years with AACE, and that's where we've always pursued or tried to bring about knowledge. So I even speak this afternoon. I've got another presentation to the students of U of H. So sometimes I get invited to come out and speak. And then when I do that is when I try and provide a lot of information to bridge that knowledge gap.
Very good. So you have online, offline trainings, like class type of trainings. And definitely, I think with the COVID, now majority is online. And also you add value to the people who are seeking knowledge through presentations and networking. I think those networking really can bring also customers that is what is needed, right, for a business. So can you now tell me, Cesar, about who is your ideal customer? Is it like companies that you go to or people come to you? Who is your ideal customer?
Well, I really don't go out and pursue customers. Although when you network, you meet people and they begin to have an interest in what you're doing, or we have these social media things or YouTube videos that I have, and then people will inquire. But the ideal client is anybody that's in the profession that we're in, that is in pursuit of industry knowledge, industry best practices. That's who I welcome as an ideal client. The pursuit of clients is a lot more difficult because sometimes the pursuit, they don't feel that they need to know anymore, and they feel sometimes that they've got it all lined out and they know what they're doing. So they're not very open to to open that box, right? Until they run into a problem, then that's usually when phone calls happen and there's an interest. But also, a client that's willing to pursue any research and development. And, if they're searching for knowledge, they're searching for something. They're looking for a solution is what they're after.
Exactly. So I think based on what you said, the larger the company, maybe I know it all is there, the kind of mentality that some people in the companies have. But I think overall it's going to change also when we are kind of transitioning into digital age. Now, how do you reach, other than the networking that you attend or the speakings that you have or presentations in technical conferences, do you have any other way to reach your ideal clients?
Well, I use like, for example, Google ads and things like that. That's just a posting that, when they search traffic, they'll find you a little bit easier, and that points them to the website and to the training. And of course, by word of mouth usually is, a recommendation from others, so that's typically how I reach out.
Yeah. And I've heard really from a lot of business owners, the word of mouth is the best type of a strategy for reaching your ideal clients. Because when someone is happy with the services, your products or products that you have, then they go and talk about it, which is great. And also it can work on the other way. So that's why we have to always provide top quality training in order to really bring more of those type of clients into our area of expertise. Great, thank you for sharing that, Cesar. Now, if let's say you are in a networking environment or somewhere you talk and then someone comes to you and you want to explain to them in maybe a sentence or two about your business or how you can serve them, what would that sentence be? Do you have something, maybe people call it elevator pitch? Do you have something like that you can share with us?
Yeah, I have a somewhat of an elevator pitch. I tell them, that I'm pretty self-invested and driven project controls professional. I like to help people out in the management and project controls footprint in engineering and construction. And, and then I always leverage industry best practices or best in class. Also, in reference to the organizations that I'm involved with, AACE and others. And then I have a deep interest in project controls. That's what I'm passionate about. And if there's more conversation, then I'll kind of explain, some of the tactics, and when you hear cutting edge and things like that is what I'm after. That's kind of a roundabout way of telling them, what I do.
Very good. Now, Cesar, if I ask, I know like we are business owners and we know that every business owner really faces challenges. And if you want to share one of the biggest challenges that you have faced, sometimes it's more about marketing, sometimes it could be about the service providing, sometimes it's about client. So one of the biggest challenges that you have faced, can you share with us, and if you have been able to resolve it?
From the technical side, the parts of the service side is the biggest challenge, and this happens more often than anything, is making the groups aware of what they're doing, probably not correctly or inefficiently, and convincing them that it's a problem. There's an old concept that says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And sometimes companies and projects succeed just because things fell into place in the right time, but there wasn't really a true understanding of, okay, we really drove the success until things fail. And then when they fail, that's when they ponder on what happened, and they look at things retrospectively, trying to figure out what went wrong, right? That's kind of an easier convincing. When something's already wrong, then you can point out the obvious. But when nothing's going wrong and you point out some things, then convincing them that, okay, you guys are going to run into problems later on, they kind of don't accept it, right? So that's the technical challenge, I guess. From a business perspective, me personally, I probably don't pursue enough promotion or promotion of my business. I just kind of let it grow organically, and there's a lot of competition out there in this training arena and training environment. So I don't see myself as competing with them because I kind of try not to. But from a business perspective, you you would think I would try to really promote this to get a lot of volume, and at this stage I kind of not, right. So that's something for me to figure out how to get that kind of get more volume, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're overall doing a great job, right, in sharing the knowledge and the things that you know. And I've seen the number of interactions over time in your LinkedIn, for example, profile. So people are interacting more, and also what I see that whenever someone graduates or comes to your training and you show their certification, others interact with that. So this is right a way of promoting, but softly, right? You just don't, you're not salesy, right? So that's a good approach overall. And thank you for sharing the challenge you are facing. I really liked the point that you mentioned about when companies or teams are successful, they're not much open into someone pointing out that you may face an issue down the road, because the things that you have like together may somewhere down the road causes you an issue, but then say, no, we are successful and we don't see that coming. But when it comes, then sometimes it's too late. So
Right.
Working with these teams to figure out or be proactive, that's really important. And that's the challenging part, right? As someone who is a consultant or trainer or coach, to kind of point that out while they don't see that yet. Very good point there. Now, Cesar, what slows you down in your business? Now, you mentioned about the challenge, but let's say even with COVID-19, the situation we are all in, is there anything there that slows you down in your business, or even people interaction, companies response, these sort of things?
If we ignore COVID, even prior to COVID, when we talk about it in the training spectrum, there are numerous amounts of people that want training. The problem is they look to their employer to pay for the training. And me working in the management environment for companies, there's always a budget, and there's a budget involved with how many people you can train in a year. So when it comes to training, that's the limitation or the limiting factor for how many people get trained. So and it's not a big number when you think about it. And in the training spectrum, that's the biggest problem. There are very few clients that self-invest in themselves. And to me, that's why probably most of the people I train, those are the folks. They're willing to invest in themselves and pay the money to be a better professional. And I have kind of a higher respect for those individuals, because they're transforming themselves and they're taking those initiatives to spend their own personal time and money in pursuit of something that's better. And so that's the slowdown, right? It's really comes down to because if everybody's training was free, how many people would really show up as well? And I've tried in the past to do like free training and to help people out. During the COVID, I actually did that. I opened the doors and said, whoever wants free training, come on with it, because I know people are out of jobs, and that'll help them hopefully get land better jobs somewhere else. But I just do that for I guess good karma, but it's not sustainable. You still got to pay the bills. You still got to pay all the fees and expenses of keeping and maintaining a business like this. So you still gotta find a ways to get revenue or shut the doors, basically.
I agree. I really agree with your point, especially when it comes to training professionals that work in corporates. And no matter what the level of expertise or even level of management, some people are also teaching like COOs or vice presidents. And I think that it's the same issue. Normally the people in the companies think that the company has to pay for their trainings. But sometimes if you want to really develop your career, then you have to think of how you can develop your own expertise and knowledge if your company doesn't agree. But this is the mindset we all have if we have worked in the industry. And that's why I think when you separate the corporate side from small business owners training, you see big difference. And you see like big number differences also between the two. So I agree with your point on that and the challenges there that you kind of pointed out. And sometimes I feel that too. So now, since this interview is part of the Better Business Tactics interview series, now over the years that you have trained people, you have been in networkings, what tactic or tactics have worked for you that you can share so other business owners can say, okay, maybe I should try that? Do you have anything to share that something really worked for you as a tactical approach?
Yeah, and it's something I've been doing probably since I was like 15 years old. I used to listen to Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn and these success coaches, right? And from that, I've picked up goal setting. Even in my classrooms, I start with some goal setting sessions because to me, when you set a goal, and there's a unique way that I do the goal setting sessions, but that establishes clarity. So when you have clarity and you have a known point, you can focus. And when you tend to focus, when you deploy or execute actionable items, you accomplish things. So without the goals, and this applies to business as well, if you don't write down the goals, then you're going to kind of wander around and make your way through things. But with goals as a tactic, you have clarification, you have clarity of, and that allows you to focus. And then it becomes more of a very advanced way of just accomplishing things. And then that in turn, psychologically, you feel like you succeeded, you've accomplished things, and that just makes you feel even better. And it continues to do that.
Perfect. So goal setting is a tactic that really works, and I have experienced it myself. If there is no goal, then it's like there is no destination, right. And therefore you may just wander around. And I think since you have also the experience in kind of controlling the project or planning for reaching that, so you should be also good or teach that to the clients as well, that when you want to get to the goal, then you also plan for achieving it. So very good point. And I think every business owner should have goal setting as part of their tactics for reaching the goals that they set for their business. Now,
and talking about the goal setting though, one of the key factors is you have to write it down. And that's what a lot of people won't do. They want to do it on their phone or use apps. And there's nothing wrong with it, or in their head. But in reality, there's power in writing. And if you take the appropriate time to write it down, you actually can contemplate a lot more. It turns into a new way of focusing.
Very good, very good. So that's I fully agree. Now, talking about the goal setting and writing the goal down. Now, going beyond the goal setting, what is your ideal vision for the future of your business?
The business for training is just getting a message, spreading the knowledge. To me, that would be the ultimate goal, right? Is if I see what I've seen in the last 20 years, the transition between new and upcoming, less experienced people, and then the retirement of the experienced people, there's always that knowledge gap. So it's a never-ending cycle of that knowledge gap. And with technology now that is so easy to deploy and sometimes does a lot of the hard work for us, it diminishes the understanding of methodologies or why the algorithms were written. And that's what spreads that knowledge gap even wider. So, to me, the goal is to just have an awareness of knowledge and then just continue that momentum. Too many times we're reliant on the software or the technology, and I'm one of the ones that campaigns for AI and artificial intelligence, but in our world there is actual algorithms that we have to abide by. Otherwise, we lose the integrity of our reporting.
Yeah.
So the reporting itself is the hard part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good, very good. Thank you very much. Now, Cesar, we know everyone. I heard once, or I read it on LinkedIn, that everyone needs help, but not everyone asks for help. And if I want to ask you, in your business, if you wanted to share that, in which area you may need help, that maybe someone else can provide that help, what would that be?
To help me? To help me or me to help others?
Yeah, so no, the help that you need in your business and maybe
Oh, my
someone else
business?
could help you. Yeah.
Well, it would have to be, spreading the awareness, right? Kind of, in most social media platforms, that's what we're trying to get is we're trying to spread that footprint out, kind of get the word out. I don't look for things like likes and things like, some social media, they want likes and they want this and that. Really, it's spreading that awareness, whether it's an article I've written or a video we have or some kind of thing, is to spread it out as far and wide as we can so that people can retain that, whatever we're providing.
Exactly. I think sharing that is much more important than just liking it or even commenting, but sharing spreads it and people get to know that more. And that's also what I'm asking right now. If you see the live stream, you can share it, you can interact, you can ask a question, something that maybe you share with others about this or whatever right now Cesar is sharing. So now, Cesar, what is your favorite business advice that you have either heard from someone or you have read in a book? What is that you have learned from it and you can share?
Business advice definitely is to invest in yourself, and that just has to happen in business. And that could be in regards to, like, whether it's more information, more knowledge, things like that, things that would carve you out in being a subject matter expert in your field. There's definitely nothing wrong with investing in yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So that could be really the best piece of advice: investing in yourself and helping yourself grow. And don't wait for others to invest in you, right?
Exactly.
So that's really
right.
key. If you want to grow yourself, your career, your life, whatever it is, don't wait for others to invest in you. Just invest in yourself. It's really great advice. Thank you for sharing that, Cesar. Now, before we close, what's the best way people can reach to you and use your services? Is it just LinkedIn? Do you have a website that you can share? Please.
Yeah, LinkedIn. People can find me on LinkedIn, or they can go to advancedplanninganalytics.com and they can see the various training and or services that are there. That's the easiest way to find me. From that point, they could connect with me via email. But I'm usually frequenting LinkedIn a lot, and and then that's the social media platform we have.
Exactly. So LinkedIn profile, just search for Cesar Ramos. You can find him there. It's easy to find him and he's active. And also through the website, advancedplanninganalytics.com. And there you can find how he can serve you through the training or other things online, or even I think you still have your location open. So if someone wants to come for face-to-face
Right.
training, you still do that, right?
And yeah, and taking all the precautions, you know, the masks and the
Yeah.
hand sanitizers and things like that. It's a lot less, but it's still there if people are interested.
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much, Cesar. Thanks everyone for joining and watching. And if you have any comments, please share the comment. If you can share this video with others, as Cesar mentioned, spreading the word and spreading the knowledge is important. And if you are a business owner and you're interested in having that sort of discussion with me, just let me know and we can schedule something. Until next time, live the life of your dreams and make a difference consistently. Thanks again, Cesar, and I wish you great success in your business and